Picture this. You're exhausted. You're cold. Every breath feels delayed. And then you see them. Not buried, not hidden, just there. Someone who didn't make it back down. And you have no choice. Do you stop, knowing it could cost you your life? Or do you step over them and keep going? Because on Mount Everest, the dead don't disappear. They wait. Welcome back to Macabre Mondays, where mystery meets the macabre with your favorite deadly merry duo. I'm Ale.
And I'm Tom.
Your guides through the strange, the sinister, and the spooky.
Ooh. You jumped right through it.
Yeah, we don't have to do it every time. You wanted to do it one more time?
Nope.
Spooky. Even during Christmas time, okay? Now, for those of you who aren't seeing us and you're just watching us, you're actually listening to us. Also, just wanted to mention our dog Phoebe. She has been, ever since Scrappy crossed the Rainbow Bridge, she has taken his role. She likes to cry about everything. If she wants a petting, she wants to cry. If she wants your hand, she wants to cry. If she wants you to look at her, she's going to cry.
If she doesn't want us to record a podcast episode, she's going to cry.
She's going to cry. Don't even matter right now. So it's kind of funny how he passed the baton before he left. But today we are together for our last episode of season 1 of Macabre Mondays. Before we go on holiday break.
Can you believe?
Correct. I feel like we do this every other episode. We're like, oh my God.
How has it been this long? I remember when.
Remember back in the day in episode 3, we were just younglings. Literally is how I feel.
We were.
No, that's literally
We weren't
how I
even
feel.
recording in chairs. Well,
No,
we were
weren't.
in chairs, but we were lounging.
We were kind of chilling. Yeah, we were chilling in a couch.
Mhm.
It was so funny. But
we didn't know anything.
We are honestly just so grateful and so happy that we are here almost a year later, okay? Because we turn a year on January 20th. And when we come back, it's going to be January 19th. So mark your calendars. And we're going to have a very special anniversary episode. We've got something so fun planned that, you know what? I wish I could tell you guys right now, and I'm kind of the type of person that if I get you a present, I kind of have to let you know. Do you want to know what I got you? But I won't. So just make sure you mark your calendars, and we're just so excited. And we're just so happy that you guys are still here with us.
We are spending our holiday with you guys.
Yes.
Well, almost. Basically. Kinda.
Yeah, kinda. But it's just that, the holidays is to be thankful, reminds you of a lot of good things, and it's time to reflect, and there's a new year coming, and we're just so excited and happy that you guys have, been supporting us and just listening this whole time and wanting to listen to us, which is so nice. And we love hearing from you guys, especially on socials. Oh, the love that we have been receiving.
So nice.
Are you kidding me? Make a heart with me.
Oh.
Heart. Yes, Phoebe also said heart.
It too.
But yes, so today's our last episode for season 1, and we are so excited. For those of you who are not watching us, we are wearing Santa hats. Yes, very much. Knitted by... Oh, what are you going to say?
I was going to say, where did these Santa hats come from?
They were knitted by my beautiful and very talented mother. Look at this. Everybody in the family got one.
Mi suegra.
I know, she's the best.
She loves me.
Yes, she actually really does.
I am her favorite
love me.
child.
Oh my God. Anyways, moving forward, Thomas. My mother knitted these very beautiful hats. She loves to knit. She is so good. I'm going to have to post a photo. Side note, sorry, but I'm going to have to post a photo of the little witch that she just knitted me.
It is very cool.
Oh my God. I call her Pepper. She is so freaking cute. Okay. Back to it though. But we are wearing Christmas sweaters and we've got a very festive colors going on around us. So very nice.
I was stretching so that the camera could see it.
No, I think they can see. So even though we will be gone for a month, just remember that we will still be posting on socials. Okay, we are still haunting your feed.
We're still going to somewhat be with you guys for the holiday.
Yeah, so make sure you're following us everywhere.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Ale beat me to it.
Sorry, go do it.
No, you already got it.
Sorry.
You know what?
I'm like
I'll do something else.
firecracker today.
For all my New Yorker, New Jerseyans.
Oh,
It's a hard hat to holiday. You heard?
Oh, God. Here we go. All right. Well, Tom, friends, listeners, lovers.
Oh.
Now this has turned into a different type of
I've been
podcast.
feeling dry, baby.
Since this is our last episode of the year, I wanted to talk about something that's very fascinating, very dark. I mean, really dark, honestly. Oh, so macabre. Oh, so macabre.
Ooh,
So
macabre,
macabre.
you
So
say.
macabre, yes. Winter has a funny way of making things feel quieter, right? What do you think?
Mhm. I already don't like where this is going.
Darker, almost, if you think about it.
Okay.
So let me ask you a question first, Tom. Okay?
Do I believe in the Abominable Snowman?
Oh, no.
Oh.
No, but that's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah. And honestly, anybody can answer this question. It's not just targeted at you. But what would you do if on the way to accomplishing the biggest goal of your life, you had to take a step over someone who didn't make it?
Oh, I know exactly where we're going
And
now.
I don't mean metaphorically, I mean physically. Because
Literally.
yes, quite literally, because there is a place on Earth where that's not an experimental question, really.
Let me guess.
Okay.
Are we going to the death zone?
Dun dun dun. Insert Twilight Zone song. It kind of sounded like it when you said that, because you said the Twilight Zone. We are actually going to Mount Everest today, folks.
Wow.
We are going to Mount Everest. It's such a dark.
It's a very, I feel like this is a very dark place to go because exactly how you kind of opened it. It is where so many, it's very macabre.
It's so
One
macabre.
of
It's
the
unsettling, honestly.
biggest
Chilling.
goals that so many people have.
For no reason. Yeah. No, but I get it. We all have a choice.
And so many people do everything they can, so many months of prepping and years of prepping, and then they get so far and
Yeah,
yeah,
I know.
I guess.
And they don't make it.
We got to start getting into it.
Yes, we're going to have to get into it. Now, I learned so much about it, okay? Because, you know, I've always heard about Mount Everest. I've always heard how people die on Mount Everest and just making the trek. And by far, like, also, just know, people die on mountains all the time. It's not just Mount Everest, okay? So, but the thing that's
There's
really...
a key difference.
There is a key difference. There is definitely a key difference for sure. I mean, I also feel like you're climbing up to the peak of Mount Everest. This is also a choice you are deciding to make, knowing a lot of the factors in it, because you have to train for years just to even go. Like me and Tommy, we're like, hey, let's trek the Everest face. That's not
Said
really.
us never.
Yeah, first off, you never would have said that. And two, not just like an everyday person could just get up off the street and go.
No, the highest mountain I have climbed was 2,200 square feet.
It's like
2,200
the
feet.
apartment we
No,
lived in one time.
it was 2,200 feet above sea level, and that is the highest I think I will ever go.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, there's a lot of factors, okay? Because one, you need to have a lot of money. That's like really the first real requirement if you even want to try to trek Mount Everest. To even try Everest, you're looking at around 40 to 100,000 plus.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, that's for one trek, one mission. Now that covers the government permits, because Nepal literally has to sell you permission to go. Guides, Sherpas, oxygen tanks, food, tents, ropes, and rescue insurance sometimes.
Question though.
Go for it, sweet pea.
What if I just so happen to find my way as I'm just wandering the world and I go right past base camp, right past all the other people, and I somehow
you mean
find
like when
a
you're there?
different route up to Mount Everest?
You
What
can't.
are they going to do? Arrest me at the top? Can't get me if I'm already up here.
Okay, first off, I highly doubt that would even happen. This is such an insane
I'm
mountain
up there
to
in
climb.
shorts and I'm like,
Yeah. I'm gonna be like, why is he like this? Why does he not listen?
helicopter guy's like 5,000 feet below me. I can't get up there. Like,
You're like, I'm coming back down, okay? It was just a joke. Yeah.
anyone got a sled?
But that's a good hypothetical. Not. No, I'm joking. So already, if you think about it, if you don't got that I mean, I guess pocket change in your money to go take this trek, this isn't for you, son. Okay. Now, the other thing that you really need is years of training, not just a few hikes. Okay. Because before Everest, climbers usually will go on smaller, deadlier mountains first, like Denali or what is it? Anacagua, I think it was called.
I almost said Anaconda, but
No,
that's
no.
an old movie.
But yeah, so they have to pretty much learn how to walk in crampons, like without tripping, use ropes, survive whiteout storms, and you have to also get accustomed to sleeping in freezing tents for weeks, because we're gonna go in a deep dive on this. We're gonna talk more about it, but when you go up there, like
Okay, here's the thing.
we're talking, there's a reason why Mount Everest is called the ceiling of the earth.
It's because it's the tallest mountain.
I don't even think it's the tallest mountain, to be honest.
I thought it was.
No, I think, what's the tallest mountain in the world? It is Mount Everest. How did I do all this research and not research that part? Oops.
Oh, Lord.
Okay, go. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, I mean, I understand what it's like to deal with these temperatures. I got my polar bear badge when I was a Boy Scout because we slept in freezing temperatures.
How far freezing temperatures as in what? Because at Mount Everest, we're talking
all that matters
30.
is that I slept in freezing temperatures, so
like,
it's the same
I don't want to talk
thing.
specifics because I won't.
It's
it
the
doesn't
same
count.
thing.
It is. Sure. I'm just like, I'm like, what? 5 degrees? We're talking negative 30.
And I basically hiked the same hike. I went to Philmont, which we hiked 75 miles.
Wow.
And we did hit over 2,000 in elevation. So it's basically
crazy.
the same thing.
Well, here we're going 26,000 plus in elevation. So, but it's basically
the same thing.
Sure. Yeah, basically the same thing. So most of these climbers are literally training for like 5 to 10 years before even applying to come to Mount Everest.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I know. So the other third factor is that your body also has to learn not to die, because this is the part that a lot of people don't realize, that your body cannot function normally at an extreme altitude. Okay, just no way whatsoever. So the climbers will spend weeks slowly climbing up and down the mountain, letting their body make more red blood cells and learn how to recognize that I'm about to die syndrome, kind of. I mean, syndrome, what's wrong with me? I'm about to die symptoms, which that to me in itself is just so eerie and sinister that you would want to put yourself through like deathly, I don't know, it's so dark and unsettling.
On a more serious note, and not actually trying to fully compare, when we went to Colorado, well, we were going to New Mexico to hike, we actually did have to stop in Colorado Springs specifically to let our bodies adjust for a day or two to the altitude.
Wow.
Because where we lived in Indiana was 860, I think, feet above.
Right.
That's pretty much normal if anyone looks it up. For the most part, that's normal throughout most of the U.S. That's average, I believe. I could be wrong.
Okay.
Unless you're in Florida. And then you're going out there and you're over 1,000 feet.
Right.
I think around 1,500 feet or so. And it does feel different. The air is a little bit thinner.
Right.
And then you go to Everest.
Right. That's what I mean. Like that. Then that's a whole nother.
Air is super thin to the extent that, as you already mentioned, oxygen.
There's
the
no
temperatures, and now you can literally get altitude sickness, which just can mess with you a lot.
Which is, I'll definitely talk a little bit more about the symptoms that you also feel while you're up there, which is just so, like, just reading all about this and researching, and there's a lot that we're going to go into.
Why?
Yeah, exactly. Like, why? And we'll talk a little bit more about that too. But I mean, it looks like a majestic beast. I will say, the minute you look at the mountain, it's absolutely stunning and it's gorgeous. But you really have to get your body acclimated, because at this point they have to basically teach their body how to survive in this deathly situation with very little oxygen, because the air is so thin up at that altitude that you could barely breathe in it. Like, it's just not, you just won't survive in it. And that's why that is the number 4 on the list of like the things of what you just need just to go up there. You're going to need oxygen, even if you're strong, if you have like such a big lung. I was going to say.
Just one of your lungs
such
is really big.
One really big lung. No, but since there's so little oxygen up there, your brain also starts shutting down. And the simple decisions that you would make on your everyday are starting to feel very impossible to do. And you can pretty much pass out without warning. And so at this point, most of the climbers are also using oxygen tanks, which can run out, obviously, are very heavy at times. I mean, obviously. And they can also freeze or fall.
Yeah.
So imagine you're already going up. You're trekking up this mountain, you've got to carry these oxygen tanks with you, which also, depending on, like if you're doing the climb, each climber has to go up with at least 1 Sherpa. But there are some people that go up with 2. Okay, now sometimes they bring the extra Sherpa, but you also got to pay more. That's the other thing too, because you have to pay them, of course. But sometimes they bring the extra Sherpa, so then they can either be carrying more oxygen, or they can be helping with the ropes ahead, or they just could be bringing supplies up and down.
And maybe explain what a Sherpa is.
Okay, so a Sherpa refers to an ethnic group, so it's not just a job, but many of them work as guides and rope fixers, or they carry more supplies with them. So they have an exceptional altitude adaptation because of the generations that were living in the Himalayas. So they're kind of like born for this type of weather and acclimate and all.
They have a built-in oxygen tank.
No, yeah, right. But so they live there all the time, not like us who don't live nowhere near those type of altitudes, and then we just bounce right on over them. It's just not, it goes against our nature. And the reason why they keep also doing it is because it's actually one of the best paying jobs in the region. So it could support entire families, but it also, the darker side of it is that it places a far greater risk for people who are paying to climb, because as a climber, you're paying to go up there once, maybe twice, I don't know, depending on your situation. But a Sherpa's like, this is their life. This is their livelihood. They have to do that. And I also read that the amount that they make off of one climb can be like 10 times more a salary there. So,
wow.
Yeah. So imagine that at that point, but you're also risking your life. It's just like, it just feels like such an unnecessary thing to have to do almost to me, that when I read about it, I'm just like, damn, like, we have to risk people's lives because of this thrill and excitement that I don't know what exactly this is bringing to you. Maybe there's a longing or something you're missing, whatever the case may be, XYZ. I'm just like, oh my God, like, it's just so sad to see that, because a lot of the deaths up in Mount Everest are also Sherpas, are guides, are just people there that are trying to make a living, and this is what they have to do.
Yeah.
So you've got to have a lot of money, years of training. Your body has to learn how not to die, right? And then you need the oxygen, and then you also have to be mentally okay with death. You're going to be seeing dead bodies. You may have to walk past someone who may be actively dying.
And I feel like that. I was going to say, I think that puts
hurts my stomach.
I was going to say, I think that puts you into a whole nother mindset too, because you got to think, as you're prepping for this, unless it's your second time and you've already done this once,
which would be insane. Yeah.
I think there's multiple people that have done it a few times.
Because they failed. They failed the first 2 times, yeah.
But I thought there were some people that have actually completed it and then went back.
Yeah.
When you're climbing and you're getting up towards the top, you already have to have this confidence and this knowledge of, I'm going to be able to do it, because, again, to your point, you have to have that mindset of, I'm not going to die. I'm not going to die.
Or that you may die.
Force your body.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden you're crossing over dead bodies, and now that is going to potentially put you into this headspace of, oh, maybe I just let myself sleep for a little bit. And that's where I feel like a lot of those mistakes can come into play, is you almost start psyching yourself out when you see stuff like that, if you are not mentally prepared for it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, one of the things that I kept reading too was that it was a big, once they're there, well, I don't know if this is every climber, but from what I was gathering is that some of the climbers, like, they have said, it's like once you're there, you're so determined to get to the top that you just don't care. You just want to keep going. You're like, you know what, I'm here already. And also, like, you paid thousands of dollars And I'm pretty sure, I mean, I could definitely see it. A lot of people thinking that, oh, well, that's not going to happen to me. Well, they must have made a mistake that I'm not going to make a mistake on. Or just that like utmost confidence that like, I'm going to make it out of here alive, which I think you should have if you're going to go on this trek, because imagine going into it thinking, oh, I'm going to die.
Yeah.
I mean, that's also counterintuitive, but so I get it. But I also feel like, are we not seeing the symptoms? Are we not looking at the list? Like, I don't know. It's just so crazy to me. It is so crazy to me. And even after all this, right? After you train for a decade, you spend that much money, you do everything essentially right, Mount Everest can still say no to you climbing it. Okay? The weather can shift whenever it wants. Oxygen could run out if it wants to. Your body could quit. Someone else could trap you by accident. And people will risk their lives just fully knowing that at that altitude, their body is actively breaking down. It's literally dying, is from what I was reading.
It's fighting to survive.
Yes, and still people are lining up to go. And some say that it's the challenge. Some people say it's probably ego for like bragging rights or whatnot. But some climbers will even tell you that the mountain feels like it's pulling people in.
I could see that. I mean, I won't lie. Looking at this photo, all I think of is the beauty at the top.
It's kind of mesmerizing, right?
Yeah. But then I think about everything else.
Right. Well, right. And the crazy part that I was reading into it too is that there's stories of like figures appearing in the storm where they shouldn't be, which to me I was like, ooh.
Oh, I can't wait. We got to get into this.
Even worse. Why are you running? Why are you running? But there are climbers who swear that they weren't even alone when they were. And I feel like once you know that what's really up there, everything about Everest starts to feel a lot darker, like a whole lot darker. And amongst the Sherpa, from what I was reading, Everest is known as Chomolungma, meaning goddess mother of the world. And it's considered very sacred. Like they considered Mount Everest very sacred, the mountain. Not something that should be conquered, and many Sherpas believe that disturbing the mountain will actually bring consequences, and that spirits of the dead will linger where the bodies remain.
It almost sounds like, and somebody in the comments is going to roast my ass for sure, it kind of sounds like Tafiti from Moana.
Oh, from Moana?
Yes. Because, and the second one...
But they have to get the heart. Yeah. They have to get the stone, or what it's called.
But the whole, it's a god, essentially.
Yeah,
and
right.
When people try to do something to disturb it or something, then it
like based off of it's you have consequences.
Hell on you.
Yep, exactly. And so that's why they think that the storms or maybe accidents can also be signs of imbalance or disrespect of some sort, which I mean, if you think about it, there are a lot of religions that do believe in the earth and believe in different spirits. I mean, you got Greek mythology, you know, there's a god for every element and things like that. Or not every element, but like the sky, the ocean, the earth, and all and so forth. Now, some climbers have even said that, Western climbers from what I was seeing, some climbers say that Everest feels and has this like watchful or aware energy to it. Like you're alone, but you're not alone. It's just, and to me, like,
so kind of going back into that whole people are seeing things. And
and I just find
wonder
it
if
so
it's also
creepy.
the altitude.
It could be.
Because
it could
think
be.
about it. If again,
it could
lower oxygen,
very much hallucinating.
Exactly.
It could, but then that makes it so freaking scary because you're telling me you're going up there. I don't know. Somebody else could be hallucinating too. Like, you know what I mean? How?
Hey, Brian, let's go to this left side.
like Brian? No, but seriously, like it's so unsettling when you think about it and how dark it must be up there. They don't got lights. They don't got outlets. They ain't got nothing up there. Nothing's bright other than their like headlamps. That's literally about it.
Well,
in the sky.
Snow.
No, at nighttime.
Yeah.
Like imagine, no, at nighttime it's pitch black.
Really?
It's pitch freaking black, baby. You can see some because of the sky, blah, 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 because of the stars and all that. And they say like some of the climbers have said that they feel like when it's pitch black, you really feel like you're alone. Like, and one step could literally be Death. So, and I'm like, oh my God, like, why would you want to put yourself in this situation? This just does not sound like a good time either. But yeah, there's really no lights whatsoever. And I was even watching, there's some documentaries out there on it, and during the night, the wind is freaking brutal. We're talking like hurricane winds. Like, it's insane.
I was gonna say, I've seen some of the videos and you can see.
No, it's so bad.
Tents.
Yeah, the little tents that they're staying in are just like.
That was very good interpretation.
It's like a gremlin. So, but here's the thing, right? Speaking to that, then you have to understand that Mount Everest, in sense, is a graveyard. It is literally a graveyard.
I didn't even think about it like that.
And that's what makes it so freaking chilling. So macabre, man.
Yes.
You see what I mean? Like, and you're going up there and you're walking through a graveyard.
I was going to say, I know what we're getting into more, and I don't want to keep talking onto it because I know eventually you'll get to it.
Hopefully, I hope so. I mean, you asked me, you're like, it's the tallest mountain in the world. And I'm like, I don't think so. And it was. So there's actually over 300 people that have died on that mountain, and many of them are still there because Everest is divided into 5 distinct altitude zones, okay? So we've got base camp. What am I saying?
Altitude.
My apologies. Someone's gonna be like, ha ha. No, it's so funny.
No,
I love it when you guys are fun about it. There are some people out there like, I don't know what has to happen to someone to have to pronounce that word wrong. And I'm like,
I was just thinking of that one.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, rude, bully.
They must be perfect.
Yeah, whatever. People love to bully online. But anyways, so we've got base camp, okay? And that one's just at 17,600 feet. This is literally home base. So you have tents, you have food, doctors, communication. It's still dangerous, but people can live here. It's okay.
Yeah.
Then you have the ice fall, which is camps 1 and 2, which I'll also post a map because visually it's so interesting and fascinating. But this is like extremely unstable ice. Think of ladders over the crevices. And most early deaths do still happen here, and you're at around like 19 to 21,000 feet at this point. Then you have camp 3. The oxygen is a whole lot thinner here. Sleeping is difficult. Your body is pretty much deteriorating, but it's still functioning. And at camp 3, you're at 23,000 plus feet of altitude, okay? Mm-hmm. Then you've got camp 4, which is South Col from what I was reading, and this is the edge of survival. You're at 26,000 feet at this point, right? Then comes death zone, which is above 26,000 feet, and that's where the human body just cannot acclimatize here whatsoever. Yeah. Every minute here is causing damage. So the fact that this is even called a death zone, I mean, that should already tell you in itself that you're literally actively dying the entire time that you're here. Your brain cells begin to die. Your organs don't get enough oxygen. You can't think clearly. You lose coordination. You make irrational decisions. Your body can't heal, recover, anything you think of. Like, your body just functioning overall. It's just not happening here. And even with the oxygen tanks, you're pretty much on borrowed time. So right before you can even get up to the peak. And so also, just so we know, death zone is like right at the peak. Like the minute you get to death zone, as a climber, you are sleeping there and waiting until like 5 in the morning because it takes you hours just to get up to the peak. And it's not like it's crazy far, but you got to go slow. It's freezing. There could be like the winds could be brutal, and you have to get there before 2. Like the turnaround is 2 p.m.
I've seen videos of people that I think there was one interview that I saw, and this guy was saying that him and his friend, they failed the first time, and they were almost up there the second time, and all of a sudden a whiteout storm hit.
Yeah, that could happen.
They were no joke. He didn't realize they were right there.
Yeah.
And then he didn't hear his friend because his friend had kept going and he lost sight. And he kept going, and then all of a sudden he said that he took 2 or 3 more steps, and it was as if he stepped right through the storm and was at the top.
Yeah.
And he said it was one of those things that at the moment
So did his friend
He
go
was
through?
his friend was up
Okay,
there.
okay, cool.
And his friend turned around
Thank
and was
God.
saying,
Okay.
"You didn't hear me yelling?" And he said, "No, I couldn't hear anything."
Oh my God, that's insane.
And he was saying, "I was trying to yell for you to keep coming because I was scared you were going to turn back and not make it, not realizing you were only literally a few steps away."
That's crazy.
And so
That's
then
crazy work.
he said that that was exactly his thought, was when he hit that little storm, he was so ready to turn around and walk back down because he knew how dangerous it was to try to push.
Yeah, you can't stay there that long.
And he was ready to go back.
You can't stay there that long. Like when you get up there, I mean, like taking the scenery, to take a couple photos, but you just can't. You got to make it back because it just takes that long to get from the peak from the summit to descend down, and you got to go slow.
I'll be honest. Red Bull had a guy that jumped out of
Mount Everest?
No.
Oh, I was like, what the hell?
Even higher. He
Mount Everest?
Higher than Mount Everest.
Oh, you're talking about in the space. Yeah,
yes, you saw that guy.
Yeah.
I would be that
Mount
guy.
Everest is the tallest mountain.
I would say, all right, Red Bull, put me up in one of those. I'll jump out. Give me 2 parachutes. My first one, I'm a pool. I'm going to land on Mount Everest. That way I can say I summited.
What?
Then.
That's not how that works.
It is. Then all these other guys are going to be looking at me as they're walking up. They've done days and days of this shit. I'm be like, I just made it here in only a couple minutes.
How are you going to get down?
And then I'm going to make another jump and pull my chute and...
With the altitude coming down that fast, that's going to be too fast for the altitude change.
Hear me out, though.
Okay.
It's skydiving. He did it. And he went...
I just don't
hold on,
know if
here,
it's the same.
Hear me out. All it is a brief stop. Boom, boom. Done.
Is anyone else's husband like this or partner? Because...
I think it's a clever idea. Red Bull, I'm
your
man.
No, don't. He's not your man. Ignore. He doesn't ignore what he's saying. Anyway, so yes. So you have to turn back at 2, essentially, right? Now, right before you even get up to the peak, right? Let's say you've only got 200 feet. You're like, oh my God, I'm literally right there, right? You're away from summit. You have to go up what's called now the Hillary Step. Now, the Hillary Step is a famous near vertical rock face that it's just below the summit of Mount Everest. And it was pretty much the final challenge before you can even reach the summit. Mm-hmm. Before, it actually changed because there was a earthquake in Nepal in 2015, and it actually changed it from this like bottlenecks to like a slope.
Oh.
Yeah, so even better, right? I mean, it makes it even more the challenging. So there's a lot
Mother Nature said, I'm going to give you all another reason not to do this.
Yeah, can you stop climbing me, bro? But so imagine that. And a lot of the times, like when the climbers get up here to the summit, you have to wait till the climber in front of you goes up. And then you also have to think about it. Climbers got to come back down. If they're up, they got to go down. There's going to be a lot of traffic. So you also have to take that into account with the timing, and you have to get back to your death zone campy area. It's just, to me, it just is not something I feel like should even be allowed to be done. But
I'll be honest, I think I would, if I were to ever think I kind of want to do this, I'd go all the way to Camp 3.
No, you're not doing anything, so stop thinking about it.
Oh, okay.
My goodness. That'd
be gorgeous just to go even to base
look
camp.
At it. You know what they do? They probably have something on VR.
We could go to base camp.
They have probably some on VR where you do the VR headset. My goodness. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And you want to have a baby. Are you kidding me? I'm not going to be left alone with
What's
this
so
baby.
wrong with going to base camp?
He's at the Everest. He's at base camp, though. Everything's all right. No! You know what? This is a real life marriage argument we're having right now.
Have you ever flown?
You know what? I sure have flown.
Did you know your airplane is at 35 to 40,000 feet?
Okay, you want to know something?
Well, really 30 to 35.
I get motion sickness. I'm afraid of heights. When I go on a plane, do I look happy? No. Thank you. Let's move on. Okay.
Well, you heard it here first.
So if you think about it, right, each zone is taking pretty much like a small bite out of you. So by the time you reach the top, you're pretty much running on fumes. You're exhausted. Okay. One small problem could become very, very fatal. Now, the climbing season is very limited. So most of the summits happen in May during a very short, calm weather window between jet stream shifts, which I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that was a thing. But you can't really climb it year round because of safety. So you can't. So you literally have to take out of work 6 to 8 weeks total, 6 to 8 weeks because your body's got to acclimate, right? You've got to climb up and down between camps. You've got to wait for the weather to be just right. So the summit day alone, when you're going to go up to peak, can take around 12 to 20 hours. Okay, that is insane. From where you're sleeping to at the last stop to literally peak to come back down could take 12 to 20 hours. This is a choice, people.
Damn.
This is a choice. Okay, this is a choice. Now, the number of deaths like on Everest is relatively small, right? I mean, 300 plus, like it's relatively small compared to the total number of attempts. But it's still insane because at this point, when climbers are on Everest, they're passing and climbing over several dead bodies, and those bodies are still there. And not because like no one cares for them or no one tried, but because once you're that high enough, like rescue becomes almost impossible.
Yeah, helicopters and stuff can't get into those areas.
Which that's what I looked up too, because I was like, well, why? Like, I mean, I get the altitude, but I guess I just don't know much info about that. But helicopters can't fly in that high. Most helicopters can safely fly up to 20,000 to 23,000 feet. So at that point, what you're trying to say is that if you are stuck and you need rescue, somebody needs to carry your body down to below that altitude, which is the problem, because now people are sacrificing their lives, which a lot of people have died trying to help.
I was going to say, I know of people that have paid to send people, and maybe you're going to get into this. They'll pay to
not really,
send
but
rescue teams.
They do.
More or less to try to recover a body.
Yeah. And that takes thousands of dollars.
That, and are you going to get into I want to say it was maybe in the last year or so, there was a huge story that came out about a guy that just so happened to come across, it had been years that they were searching for, I want to say his brother or something.
Oh, you're talking about that documentary? Yeah, I watched it, but they never found him.
I thought they did. No, they found somebody else.
And they were able to bring him home, that person home and help the family grieve and whatnot.
Yes.
But that's what I mean. You're going into it already knowing that potentially you're not going to make it this out alive. So you're leaving your family behind. That's also another thing. If you're a parent or,
and I mean, you're
it's just
taking
brutal
the risk,
decision. Yeah.
The minute you go down, one, your team can't just wait on you.
They can't. That's the other thing that I was reading. Like,
and that's the
staying
morbid
still.
part.
Yeah, staying still on Mount Everest is deadly. You cannot be staying still whatsoever. You got to be moving.
It's just the whole climb, in my opinion, is extremely. In my opinion, past Camp 3, you are now getting into the most macabre parts of this whole entire climb.
Yeah.
You are hitting areas where it is a lot more likely that you could die. And you're taking
skyrocket. Yeah.
Huge risk. You're seeing multiple bodies.
Yeah.
And you're seeing bodies that have been there for God knows how long, because they've more or less been mummified.
Yeah,
by
because
the freezing
cold
temperatures.
Yeah, they're literally porcelain at this point. Yeah, it's just insane. And what I was reading too is that a lot of you also got to take into account that when you're climbing up here, you've got probably like 50 to 80 plus pounds on you because of all the gear you have to have. You got to stay warm. You got to carry all these things. So you're exhausted. Like you're pushing your body to a point of exertion. And I guess it's like a thing, right? You want to see how far you can take yourself, something you can prove to yourself. But man, there are other ways. I don't know. There's just like other ways.
I gotta say, I've
sure.
always been fond of getting to climb mountains just to get to the peak and being able to see the view and seeing the whole journey. This to me, though, I think at one point in my life, I always thought, man, how cool would it be to be able to say you climbed the tallest mountain in the whole world?
Yeah.
And
I think that's probably what also happens.
And the experience, and that's part of it that I think of.
Right.
But then at the same time, knowing how risky it is, the cost of it, there's so many other mountains, in my opinion, that, prime example, there's other mountains that aren't necessarily as high as Everest, but you can still climb them, have such a gorgeous view, and be a whole maybe 10,000 feet below what Everest was.
I think I'm pretty sure sometimes, I'm sure that also goes into play with it. I'm sure some climbers maybe also just feel the fact of it's like, it's something so unreachable for so many that they want to be able to say that they did it.
Yeah.
Could be bragging, could be ego, it could just be that, be an
I also
adventure.
wonder how many of them, I was going to say some of the adventure ones, I wonder how many of them have already peaked or have already summit some of the tallest mountains.
Yeah.
So then they just kind of hit a point where they say, well, what else is left?
Well, it's a thing too, from what I was reading, was that there are some climbers, because these are mountaineers, like these are people that have done this their whole life, right? Like I said, it's not something that you just wake up and go one day. Like you have to literally prep and plan for this. And a lot of them were saying that, from what I was reading, I think there are 7 tall mountains or whatnot. I could be wrong, but I forgot how they worded it. But they were pretty much saying that there are like 7 peaks that you'd want to do as a mountaineer. And I guess it's like if you get the whole 7, it's like you've accomplished this huge explorer expedition kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a personal thing too. It's not like it's an award or anything like that. But that's where I'm also thinking, to your point about how many people just want to do this because of the climb. It's just something that they love to do, which I'm sure, I just feel like, oh my goodness.
Excuse my chair. You're also not you're a very nature-y person, but you're not I want to take risks.
Are you talking about me?
Yes.
Oh yeah, no, I like to go on a hike, but
exactly.
Not all this.
You are much more of I
want to enjoy the sights.
Are there comfortability? Is there a lodge? Will there be food? How
do we have a snack on us?
You're telling me I have to hike this and camp out and make my own food for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Whoa.
In the woods? Hold on, there's not a bathroom? I have to dig a hole.
The bathroom one is, I'm a girl. I'm just a lady. It is not the same for you. Even though I know there are ladies out there that do that. And I really admire you guys. It's hard for me. I would not be able to. But yes, I wouldn't do this whatsoever.
I will say digging a hole in the woods does feel weird though.
Anyways. So at this point, guides will actually warn climbers ahead of time, and they'll say, you're going to see dead bodies. Okay. And they'll tell you, don't stop, don't touch, just keep moving. And slowly, almost without realizing it, climbers will begin to think of bodies as part of landmarks. And the reason why I mention that is because you will hear specific directions on Everest sound like this. Once you pass the body in the green boots, you're almost there, which is so haunting. How freaking haunting is that? Now, one of the most well-known bodies on Everest belonged to a climber known only as Green Boots, which is so sad because that's someone's dad, son, friend, grandson, whatever the case may be, to now just be known everywhere as Green Boots. Yeah. Yes, exactly. And so being called like Green Boots, it's just so sad. It's just another layer of that like macabre sense, even though I know everybody has a choice to go do this if this is what they want to do and they choose to do, and that's all right. But he is widely believed to be Siwang Paljor, which I hope I pronounced that right. But around 2010, a member of an Indo-Tibetan border police expedition who died during the 1996 Everest disaster, which I'll talk a little bit more about that. For years, his body was curled inside this limestone cave near the summit route, and his neon green boots were impossible to miss. So almost every climber would pretty much have to pass him going up and down, and they would actually call that cave Green Boots Cave. Like, it's just so chilling. And he pretty much became this waypoint of distinction that you were almost at the summit, you're almost there, just keep pushing, right? But it's just, again, like, it's just so macabre knowing the fact that you're just walking all over these dead bodies of people that were also doing the same thing that you were trying to do. I don't know. It's just, oh my God, it's mind chilling. My stomach hurts. But in 2006, there was another climber named David Sharp, and he collapsed in that same cave. He was a British climber that attempted Everest solo in 2006, and he ended up becoming extremely hypothermic and oxygen deprived. And the sad part is that there were dozens of climbers that passed him going up and down, believing that he was already dead or that he was simply resting when he was actually still alive.
I think I remember hearing about this.
And some people did try to help from what I was reading, but there's really nothing else you really could do at that situation, because if you were to stop and help someone, you could put yourself potentially at risk of death. So the minute you just stopped at all on the mountain at this point, you're practically killing yourself too.
Yeah.
So that's why there's such a dilemma about Everest and having these, like, the dark tourism behind it and the commercializing of it. I don't think that's how you say the word, but how people are commercializing it, because they're like, good, pay this the sum of money and come up. And it's like, it's not really I don't know. It's not an attraction. It shouldn't be an attraction. This is like a life or death situation, right? But by the time that anyone really realized that David Sharp was alive, it was already too late. And so he passed there. Now, they actually did remove Sharp's body from the site in the cave a year later at the request of his parents, from what I was reading. But Siwang Paljar is still there, from what I think as the most recent update I could see. The green boots man, unfortunately, he is still there. I read that they tried to rescue him, or at least move him out of sight, which I was seeing that is a very common, I don't want to say common, but it seems like a thing that's been going on, that we can't bring the bodies back, at least let's move them out of sight so then they can like rest in peace almost and not be taken photos of. And that's what also happened to Frances Arsentive. Now, have you heard of the Sleeping Beauty on Everest?
No, I haven't.
Okay, on May 22nd of 1998, Frances became the first American woman to summit Everest without supplemental oxygen. Insane.
What?
I know, insane in itself, because at that altitude, there's very little oxygen to breathe.
Where the hell was she born?
Yeah. her lungs, I don't know.
I'm sorry, that's insane.
That is insane, which, again, they recommend you bring an oxygen tank. Like, you should and you must, but she decided to go on this on her own.
She said, let me cut cost.
Yeah, no, she didn't do it at all. Now, she did have a young son. She does have a young son, and she actually climbed Everest with her husband, Sergey.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, they attempted Everest twice, and Sergey and her both died on Mount Everest descending back. Yes.
Damn.
I also read that her son didn't want her to go, but he also didn't want to be the reason that when she was older she'd say, damn, I should have just done it. Yeah. And he said in an article that he felt that he believed it was really something that his mom just felt she had to do. So as much as he didn't want her to go, he was like,
I want to support.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And unfortunately, in the end, ended up losing both of his parents, right?
That just sucks.
Yeah.
One, he lost both his parents, but to me, it sucks even too in the fact of, think of being able to say I summited, and then you did all that to then die on the way back down. Right. I know. That's the other thing, because it's one thing, when you go on a hike and you're like, oh, I can't wait to get to the top, right? Everybody's walking towards the top, they're hiking towards the top. That's the main goal. And you get there and you're like, all right, let's go back down. Here it's like, it's a trek just to go up. It's a trek just to go down. Like you have to count your blessings when you're there. Yeah, and you don't want to waste, as you've been saying, you can't waste any time, because not a second, not a minute. Ounce of extra energy, right? Anything could kill you. Yeah, it could go wrong. And ultimately, like, she just couldn't make it back down. So when climbers found her, she was barely alive and she was too weak to stand. And she was impossible to carry. So some of them stayed with her as long as they could. But from what I was reading, Sergey was also trying to like help her and rescue her. That's his wife. And he died in the process doing that. So they both died together. So a lot of the climbers also have to leave her behind, and she is said to have a very peaceful expression. And so there's photos of her where she's kind of off to the side of the route, and climbers just began calling her Sleeping Beauty, which is so freaking macabre, man. That is so chilling. Again, just like green boots, it become that is where I think this whole thing takes such a dark twist, because you are literally walking past death. Yes, you're at death's doorstep. Like, you are literally there, and you put yourself there. The thing is, this is something you're trying to celebrate, but you're walking past all of this macabre, right, to get to the top. And does part of me think that because the people that died, they were also doing this to have the accomplishment
Yeah,
Do I
I mean,
think
it's a
that
big
part
feat.
of it?
Yeah.
Part of me, I think they would want you to celebrate and say, you know what? Yeah, I
Right,
made
because
it.
they
And
all had a common goal to
yes,
get there, to see it and to come back
at the
home
same
alive.
time,
Yeah.
I just see how devastating this whole thing is.
Yeah.
And to me, I think that's where that's just so freaking dark, man.
Yeah, it's so dark. It is so chilling. Her body was beside the trail for almost a decade, and with being photographed and all that, in 2007, climber Ian Woodhall returned not to the summit, but he returned to move her. So he and his team wrapped her body in American flag and relocated her away from the trail to like a quieter place in the mountain. So her exact resting place has never been shared, of course, out of respect for her family. But it wasn't a rescue mission. It was just the closest thing that you can really do to a burial at Everest, because there's really no way to bring them back home. Some of them have been rescued, I saw, but again, it's like you're putting a lot of people at risk. It costs thousands of dollars. It's also, you can kill more than you can save, essentially, too. It's so dark. It is so dark and sinister and just ugh. In 1979, Hannelore Schmatz reached the summit and died during her descent from the peak. So, and the reason why I'm mentioning her is because her body didn't just fall. It actually stayed seated near Camp 4, and it was propped against her backpack with like her eyes wide open from what I was reading, and her hair would be blowing in the wind. Now, climbers said that it looked like she was watching them almost, and she remained there for years until storms pushed her away from the ridge. So she was actually the first woman and first German citizen to die on the upper slopes of Everest.
That's wild.
It's just so
again, this is
crazy.
Because then I also think of how many of their souls are almost trapped there.
That's what I mean. I mean, if you believe in that, if you believe in limbo, if you believe in spirits lingering, especially if they've died a specific type of way that's traumatic, or, you know, whatever it is, that's what I mean. It's a graveyard. Like Mount Everest is a graveyard at this point. It's not just a mountain. I mean, I'm sure it's a mountain, right? Obviously, where they're dying is a small area of the mountain, but you know what I mean. You get what I'm saying.
It's wild.
Now, one of the most intriguing and eerie discoveries on Everest wasn't just a body with a name. It was actually a foot that was emerging from the ice that gave researchers a clue to one of the mountaineering's oldest mysteries.
Really?
Yeah, in October of 2024, a team led by climber and filmmaker Jimmy Chin was exploring the slopes and lower glacier below Everest's north face when they spotted something very unusual. It's a worn leather boot sticking out of melting ice. Now, within that boot was a sock with a name stitched into it, and it said A.C. Irvine, and inside, the preserved remains of a foot.
Yo.
Yes.
So where's the rest of it?
I mean, who knows? Nobody knows. That name, A.C. Irvine, pointed to what they believe is Andrew Sandy Irvine, which was a young British climber who disappeared in 1924 along with his partner George Mallory during an attempt to be the first to reach Everest's summit.
They were trying to be the first?
The first. So this is around the same time that
That's crazy.
the first climb, yes. So for a century, no one knew what happened to Irvine. Mallory's body was found in 1999, but Irvine's whereabouts remain unknown until this foot appeared. Yeah. And because...
Oh my God.
I know. And because the sock and boot have Irvine's name... Researchers just really strongly believe that the foot belonged to him, but there's still no DNA that like confirms it. But I mean, if you kind of put two and two, he could have gave the sock to somebody, but everything's lining up as this is most likely him.
I was gonna say, I mean, who else would have his sock on?
I know, it's very unlikely, especially in 1924.
Oh my gosh.
Right, but that's just like it is. Yeah, it's just so dark and unsettling and sinister and just. It's creepy, it's spooky, it's all the above. But that discovery doesn't just satisfy that curiosity. It really gave researchers almost like a geographical clue about where Irvine's remains are most likely, possibly helping solve a mystery that has lingered for over 100 years, that's the other thing. But Do we know if they reached the summit before they died? Nobody knows. Nobody knows if they were ever the first.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but it kind of brings you it's just another piece of a clue that kind of tells you a bigger piece of the story. Yeah, it's just too much. But, and here's where we go down this rabbit hole, okay?
Okay.
I mean, if we haven't already we're in the rabbit hole. I was
going to say, I didn't know we could get much worse. But...
No. Well, yeah, we're in the rabbit hole. But once climbers pass a certain height, something strange starts to happen. And it's not just physically, it's not just mentally, but the part of Everest that is known as death zone, right? Like I said, it's above 26,000 feet, where the human body is no longer able to live. At this altitude, fluid can build up in your lungs. It can make your brain swell. Oxygen is so thin that every step feels almost delayed. So imagine your thoughts. You probably haven't, none really, if you think about it, because you're freezing. At this point, you're probably just thinking about, like, I just need to get warmer.
Yeah.
I don't even know what you would think in those extreme conditions, but you can even go blind because the blood vessels behind your eyes can burst. And it could actually cause temporary blindness. Like, when you get down, you might regain vision again, or you might not. So this is what I mean.
Shit.
This is what I mean. Okay? This is what I mean. That's what I don't get.
Is this what you mean?
This is what I mean. Now, you could even feel calm when you actually should be panicking. You could also feel warm when you should be freezing, which I also read that there are some climbers that have experienced taking their clothes off because they just felt too hot, even though they really weren't hot, obviously.
Yeah.
But it was like a mental thing. Yes. And this is where people begin to report things that they can't quite explain. Or maybe they can, because again, it could be hallucinations, but who knows? Many climbers have reported feeling the same sensation, almost a presence. It's not threatening, it's not aggressive, but something or someone is just there. They say it feels like someone is walking beside them, matching their pace almost, close enough that you could reach out and touch them.
Yo, if I felt that, I'd be telling that person, I'd say, look,
back up,
whether you're real or not,
I swing.
Take this shit off my back and carry it for me.
But when they turn their head, no one is there. This happens most often when climbers are alone, from what I was reading, and when the visibility could be low, or when maybe exhaustion has reached an all-time high, because that's also another factor into it. Some climbers say that this presence, though, helps them and almost encourages them to kind of keep going and could potentially be guiding them back to safety. But others say that it disappears the moment they descend. So who knows? It could be...
That's crazy.
It could be something with the symptoms of everything that you're already feeling, the side effects of being up that high. But it could also be some type of spirit lingering, or... It also kind of reminds me a little bit of Polar Express, because we just watched it the other day again. And you know how when he's up on the train...
Do you believe in ghosts?
Yes. And the hobo man is like... And he's really a figment of his... He's just a ghost. He's a spirit. But it's like... That's just a cute... But is he? Exactly. Exactly. And that's just like a cute way of like playing with the spirit idea and the theme and the present in the preface. But this is wild. Now, there's actually a name for this experience, and it's called the third man phenomenon.
Who's the second?
It's probably your Sherpa. You've got to go with your guide. Yeah.
I'm like, okay, well.
I was like, dude, dead ass. Who is the second?
It's like,
yo.
Well, the second's the one spirit that I already knew I had with me.
Yeah, you're like the second one.
The third,
yeah,
that's the weird one that
different.
I don't know is there, but he feels like he's there.
But he feels like
I don't
he's
see
there.
him.
Yes. And it's been reported by mountaineers and polar explorers and sailors that people push to the edge of human endurance, they will describe a calm companion or a voice that's offering some type of reassurance and just a sense that someone else is sharing the burden with them.
Nope. That to me sounds like death is directly speaking to you, saying it's okay. Just let go.
It's like you can push, but if you don't, it's all right too, you know?
I'll take good care of you.
Follow the light. No, seriously, now that you mention that, it really could be. It really could be. And the scientists, from what I was reading, say that it's the brain under extreme stress, which, I mean, it can be, but you're in this extreme stress state that your mind is like creating company to survive. But climbers will say, or people who have experienced the third man phenomenon will say that it just feels so real. It feels so real. But again, to your point, are you on just the cusp of death that is just a spirit?
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. Is it death itself at the door? Is it your spirit guide? Is it a spirit that is lingering? I don't know. It's interesting. It's also so spooky, so creepy. Like I'm getting chills thinking about it.
That's a little crazy.
Ugh. But on Everest, these experiences tend to happen near the places where people have died. So that's where it kind of goes into that hand in hand. Like, is it just, you know, science, or is it really some type of spiritual entity? Now, some climbers have reported seeing tents that aren't there. They walk towards what looks like shelter only for it to vanish, but others hear their name being called across the ice, or voices that sound very familiar.
I was going to say, I feel like I've heard some of those stories of people saying that
like
they were in the death zone specifically, and then they thought they were walking to their partner's tent that they were climbing with, and their tent wasn't there where it was.
Yeah, right. And I can't even, like, I was gonna be like, imagine being there, but I was like, I can't even imagine because I would never go. but yes, but literally, which, like I was saying earlier too, the Sherpas, right? They have this long belief that Everest is this sacred place where spirits live and where disrespecting it will carry consequences. So before expeditions, I was seeing they would actually perform ceremonies pretty much asking to climb, which makes sense. I mean, a lot of religions do that when it's like,
it makes sense
for certain aspects, but they believe that storms could actually be warnings and accidents could be consequences, and that removing bodies or disturbing them can also anger the mountain.
That I could see as well, because it's almost as if the mountain's taking it as a sacrifice.
Almost. Ooh. That is so chilling.
Dude, this is weird.
That is so, you're like, I don't like how I feel right now.
You know, I knew Mount Everest in one light.
I know.
Being very macabre and just being responsible.
Well, you just knew it was bad.
Yes,
it was dangerous.
But I never thought of it in this light of almost a out of this world being type thing.
Yeah, like it almost has its own. Yeah.
And it almost comes across as if it's demonic and feeds on the weak.
Yeah. Oh. Ooh, you're talking poetry right now.
Because if it knows it can play with your mind and it can start tricking you, then all of a sudden it can
got me. Yeah.
You killed, and now you're stuck on.
It's almost like you and the beast.
Wow.
You alone with the beast.
I won't lie, this is putting Mount Everest in a whole different light.
Even macabre.
Welcome to Macabre Mondays, where we take mountains and turn them even darker.
Dark. Yeah, but that's what I mean. Isn't that though. Like... It's just so macabre. It's so macabre. It is just so macabre. But even the Sherpas who don't openly believe in the spiritual side will still say that Everest just feels different. It's just its own beast. It's its own being almost. So whether these experiences are being caused by the lack of oxygen or something else, I don't know. The eerie and spooky part is that you have to think about it. All their stories are very similar to one another, and they just happen to be most often near bodies that have passed and perished on the mountain.
Yeah.
So that just makes it even more chilling because...
How was that?
It's so scary. Spooky. It is so spooky. Now, every so often, though, Everest has given someone back, but you have to count yourself lucky. Beck Weathers was an American climber and pathologist who joined a guided expedition to Mount Everest in 1996, which was the disaster of 1996. The reason why it's the disaster of 1996 is because there were a lot of key failures. They kind of commercialized it in a sense, okay? There were too many climbers. There were tons of delays at the bottleneck where Hillary Step is, okay? A lot of the climbers were ignoring turnaround times. So some of the climbers were staying up at the peak for longer than they should have been because they were just enjoying the view and the sights. And so that's the other thing. Like, you just can't do that. You have to follow the rules, especially if you even want to get a chance of making out of this alive. Yes, alive. There was a lot of poor coordination between the teams because there were so many people, and there also, as people were descending, there was a sudden storm that happened. So it was great. There's actually a movie. It's called Everest that is based off of the 1996 disaster, and I want us to watch it. Jake Gyllenhaal's in it.
Wonder why you want to watch it. Anyways.
Finger guns. Pow, pow.
No, stop. Anyways.
So he was in the 1996 disaster on Everest, and he wasn't a reckless thrill seeker. He was just kind of more of a regular guy chasing this once in a lifetime goal. So from there's also a documentary on PBS if you guys want to watch it. I thought it was really good. They have the actual survivors from the 1996 Everest disaster there, an interview, and they talk about the day. And there just so happened to have been a filmmaker there that day. Because again, remember, it's a small window just to go to Everest. So if anybody's going to Everest, it's going to be around this time. So it's not like, oh, the filmmaker was there in April and we were there in May and the Everest disaster happened in May. No, it's like May every year. So there was a filmmaker that just so happened to have been there that day, and he's taking photos and doing videos. So he actually even has his own account and some type of footage. And even he has photos of the survivors right before they passed. Some of them passed. So it's also very eerie, but it's such a great documentary. Definitely check it out. Now, in that documentary, though, they were talking about a lot of the people that were coming to this trek, because it was like different companies. Okay, so there's these two guys. They have their own set of teams, and the team, it's not like they were like the number 1% of healthy, like, poster child to be going on this trek, if I'm not wrong. That's what I took from it. But they're still like in the top 10%. But still, right? Like, you've got to like train for years for this. This needs to be a thing that needs to be a long-term goal. Okay, so whatever, they went. Beck Weathers, during the summit day, so many things were going wrong, but when he was descending the peak, a sudden and violent storm rolled in. At that altitude, Beck began to go blind because he also had a previous eye surgery, and he was also reacting badly to the lack of oxygen. So to me, I'm like, crazy, my guy. That is crazy. But he became disoriented, he was exhausted, and he was unable to move on his own. And eventually, he ended up collapsing in the snow. Other climbers found him later unconscious and frozen solid, but unresponsive, and they believed that he was dead. They said their goodbyes and they left him there. But he didn't end up dying. Hours later, alone on the mountain, he wakes up. He wakes up. He stood up in the death zone after spending the night exposed to these forceful winds and temperatures that are so cold that they will kill you within minutes. He was severely frostbitten. He was blind and barely alive. Yes. But somehow he survived. And when Beck began walking down the mountain by himself, that's when the climbers saw him again, and they thought that they were hallucinating because they're like, what?
I would have too.
That's what I mean. This is crazy.
I would have been like, nah, I'm like,
You're
you
like,
died.
huh? That's
you
crazy.
Died.
What
I saw you.
It would be hard to believe that. I know. I'd have to really pinch myself. But he was later rescued. But the damage of the frostbite was so bad that he lost his nose. He lost both his hands. I think he lost his foot or something, but he lost parts of his face. A lot of his body was just destroyed. Doctors didn't expect him to survive, but he did, and Beck Weathers lived and later said that he has no memory of waking up, but only a strange sense that he had been called back.
What? Wait, hold on. He'd been called back.
He just had this like sense of like he needs to get up and go. Yeah. And to this day, his survival is considered one of the most inexplicable events ever really recorded on Mount Everest, from what I was reading. And I mean, the photos are brutal because he has frostbite so severe that like his face, is semi-black. It looked charred out because there's no oxygen flow to those pieces of his skin and his parts of his body that they're dead.
If you've ever seen Mr. Deeds, it literally looks like Mr. Deeds' foot.
I've never seen it.
You've never seen Mr. Deeds, Adam
No,
Sandler?
I've seen, Mr. Deeds.
Mr. Deeds.
Why was I thinking you were thinking about, what's that guy? Mr. And he's got like the googly eyes. He's a real guy.
Mr. Beans?
Mr. Beans.
Mr. Beans doesn't have googly eyes. Those are his natural eyes. He's a funny man.
He is a funny man. But
He
I
also
just
has
think...
a great car collection.
Okay.
That's totally beside the point.
Yes. Okay, so Mr. Deeds.
Mr. Deeds, his one foot was frostbite and it's completely black. If you guys have seen that movie, that is how this guy's face looks.
Yeah, his face and his hands.
Yes.
I think I need to rewatch the part you're talking about, but yes. Okay, so his face and his hands. In 2006, Lincoln Hall was an experienced Australian climber who summited Mount Everest, and on the way down, he became severely disoriented from altitude sickness and collapsed. And other climbers tried to help him, but the conditions in Death Zone are obviously very brutal. Eventually, he was declared dead and left on the mountain. But the next morning, another team found him sitting upright, without gloves or oxygen, from what I was reading, alive.
What the
He was
hell?
talking, smiling, asking what time it was. And at an altitude where survival overnight is practically impossible, Lincoln Hall somehow lived. And a rescue effort followed. And against all odds, he was brought down to safety. And he later said that he had much memory of that night.
This is where now I'm really getting into the theory that this mountain is haunted
have now.
Some type of...
It's a spiritual being.
Yes.
Yeah. Like there's
yes.
more to it than just... I mean, really, nature in itself is... Yeah.
It almost feels like it is literally choosing
Yeah.
who can survive.
And why.
And why. Because you're telling me against all odds, science, health, medical, doctors, all this shit cannot explain
I know
how you're able to
Certain
survive stuff like this that you're not supposed to survive.
You're not supposed to survive, right? Because that's the thing, you should die. Yeah, you should have passed.
We've had all these crazy instances where military guys have been blown up by grenades, shot in the head, all
But that's what
shit.
I mean, even that too is insane.
Those are insane cases. This though, I mean, how it just...
There's like a 1% chance you'll make it out. Yeah.
And you're telling me that you're found without the clothing that literally protects you and...
Well, some of it, yeah. No, I know what you mean.
Hell?
It really
That's
just makes you
wild.
think about it in a different light because how? Just how? And you know what? It's actually not that far-fetched to think of it as its own beast or the spiritual being, because what do we all do when people go out on a boat? You christen the boat. Why? Because that's like a typical...
And you can't change the name of a boat
you
without
can't change
the
the
proper
name,
thing.
right? And then you also... I know every time that we go on a cruise, there's like a godmother, and it's just kind of like a traditional thing you do. And there's certain steps that you take to pay... I don't want to say like a fee, but just to be good with the ocean and the ocean good with. So to me, it's like the same.
I was gonna say, to me, I think many people look at Poseidon as the god of the ocean,
The ocean,
and
right,
even
'cause that's
the
what he is.
ocean.
Yeah.
Even if they don't look at Poseidon, they look at the ocean
as its own
thing.
Yes.
Because similar to Everest, the ocean is. We know more. If you guys didn't know this, fun fact. We know more about space
Than we do about the ocean.
than we do about our own ocean here on
know.
Earth. And that in itself is insane.
Yeah.
But the reason that to me is insane is because you think about it, and Everest in itself claims deaths.
Right.
And it claims bodies and controls when they're able to be released. Basically, same thing with the ocean. There's so many stories of sailors that were going through such treacherous waters, and then it was as if everything was just calm
and like the heavens opened up. Yes.
And that to me is just it's those natures. To me, there's certain nature things that you just don't screw with.
Right. Well, you also want to make sure you're being as respectful as possible. And you know what? Like, I'm all about science. I totally get it. There's a lot of things that explain anything, but I also believe in the unexplained. I also believe that it could be luck. You could have been just so freaking lucky. Could have been a coincidence. It could have been all these other things that could maybe explain it, but it also could be, I just feel like science can only go so far. What's that saying in the Notebook? Noah, he says it at the end when he's an old man, and he's like, oh, science can only go so far, and then there's God. And to me, I'm like, ooh, chills. I'm like snapping at the Notebook. I'm like, say it again, Noah, say it again.
Oh,
no, but
Lord.
it really makes you think, because some things are just so unexplainable that I'm like, that can't just be luck, man. You gotta play the lottery if you make it out alive.
Oh God, not this again.
You gotta play the lottery. That is insane. But
I love you.
I love you too. Despite of all this, people will still climb Mount Everest, right? I mean, it's a choice. People are still going to do it. There must just be something in them that they need to prove something, or it's just, again, it could be bragging rights. It could be all the things that we were explaining. But in a good year, nearly 1,000 people on Mount Everest at the same time are all chasing that same narrow window at the top, which is insane. So there could be 1,000 plus people going, because you have to include the climber. The climber might have 1 to 2 Sherpas. You have like 30 people per company. I'm gonna get a little bit into it, but if it's like 1,000 plus people, that doesn't mean or guarantee that 1,000 plus of those people are gonna go up to the peak. So maybe it could be 300, but that is still a lot of people on this treacherous path that. The documentary I was talking about on PBS, Charlotte was one of the survivors of the 1996 disaster, and she was saying that, like, when you get up there, like, to that bottleneck area, you can literally see, like, if you were to put your pole or like step on the right, you could see Nepal. If you put on the other side, you see the other side of the I'm like, oh, she was like, it's literally life or death when you're there. So there's no room for mistake. And that's where I'm like, how? With 300 people, or just even 10 people, or just 5 people, it is insane to think about. And one of the other things too that I was reading is that so many people go up to Everest now that they actually have to have cleanup teams just remove garbage off the mountains to keep things clean.
Damn.
So I'm like, damn, we even messing Everest up. Of course Everest is gonna be like, oh, okay, you know what I mean? But some do call it dark tourism, which I could totally see that.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Others call it, just plain ambitions or just bragging rights. But it just puts you in perspective, because when death is all around, why would you even want to gamble it? The chances are so super low. And I mean, I guess you can just go and be like, but that won't be me. How many of us do that for a lot of things? That won't be me, because I'll do things differently. So imagine the climbers may also feel that way, or like they just feel it may be different for them. But what I was mentioning earlier, okay, you've got 1,000 plus people going, 1 Sherpa at least per climber. Okay, so 1 climber could have 1 to 2 Sherpas. So you've got a single commercial expedition usually includes 6 to 15 paying climbers.
Wow.
So if you got 6 to 15, you are going to need 15 to 30 Sherpas. And then you are also going to need 1 to 3 Western guides. And you also need support staff moving between camps. So this is why it's also so expensive. Like,
yeah,
people are risking their lives.
You're literally hiring a whole team.
Yeah, to get you up there. So one company alone can actually put 30 to 50 people on the mountain. So now multiply that by multiple companies. Yeah. I don't know how many companies are out there like doing these expeditions or these treks, but just one alone, we're talking 30 to 50. That's insane. And there's multiple. Now, this is the even wilder part, is that during that short summit window, 500 to 700 climbers may attempt the summit in the same 1 to 2 week period. That's also including Sherpas and guides. So that means that there can be 1,000 plus people moving on the mountain at the same time. 1,000 plus.
That's kind of crazy.
1,000 plus. Are you kidding me? That is insane. And another thing that I was reading that I forgot to mention actually was because they actually have a term called the Rainbow Valley, and it's on Mount Everest, and it's literally within the death zone where you just see a wave of like, oh, well, like I guess a valley, you could say, of colorful gear, jackets, tents, oxygen tanks, of just deceased climbers remaining frozen and scattered all over the mountain. So that's why they call it the Rainbow Valley. I mean, if you can even just picture it, there's photos online because you can see even where people lay, or where, you know, where people are camping out. It's just so macabre to know that a lot of the color that you're seeing is also people that passed and yeah, that are dead.
Yeah.
So that's where you get you can also see a lot of photos on if you guys Google it, honestly, like it just popped up. I literally just wrote like Mount Everest and like boom, a bunch of photos were popping up. But you'll see like single file human lines, people waiting hours at 28,000 feet just to be able to make that peak. Climbers standing still in the death zone, which is extremely dangerous, like we said. And the window is so tight because Everest really only allows the summit attempts when the jet stream winds are briefly away. Temperatures are less deadly, I guess, because they're deadly either way. And the weather is stable enough to survive for just a few hours. So that window could actually be just a few days. It could just be just a few hours. You really don't know until you're there, and then you have to play by ear. And there's really no, like, so everyone goes at once, essentially, because there's only that small window and you're not really sure how short or long it'll be. So you've got to go. There's no, oh, I'll just go tomorrow instead. Like, you go first, I'll meet you, I'll see you tomorrow. Like, you have to go. So that's also what causes some of the casualties and the fatalities, is because, you know, all of these things.
What kills me is seeing the graph chart seeing how many deaths are from Nepal. Because I know for a fact that those are
a lot of the deaths. Yeah, the guides.
And if it wasn't for almost all these main countries that have a bunch of people that are wanting to climb.
I know.
And I'm just going to go based off of how many deaths each of the countries had and say that those are more than likely who has the most climbers showing up.
Yeah.
That to me is really macabre when you think of it, in the sense of those countries, in my opinion, the tourism they are bringing isn't tourism in the sense of, oh, we're helping provide money for this community.
Right.
It feels literally more providing death.
Yeah.
For this community.
So it just kind of feels like you're playing in it. And that's the thing, like I feel like I get torn because I totally get it. Everybody has a choice, right? If that's something you want to do and you can, okay. I mean, I wouldn't do that, but but that's me. Everybody's different. And that's fine too. But I also just feel like it just doesn't even feel like necessary almost. It kind of even reminds me of, I don't know if this is like a sore subject, but you know when people pay like thousands of dollars to go hunt a lion? I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Hunt a lion? So I was watching this interview with Beck Weathers, and he spent his life in depression, he said. So he learned that if he drove his body really hard, it would kind of keep him from thinking. Mm-hmm. And so he found like this immense amount of pleasure knowing that he didn't have to think or worry, because when he's doing the trek, he at this point, he's just beating his body, kind of punishing himself. And all he can think about is he's surviving in his heartbeat, and there's nothing else that you could even be thinking about if you have a bunch of problems, or if you are severely depressed.
You don't have.
So it's like he's using it as he's almost using it as a coping mechanism. And so, there was some survivors on the PBS documentary that even talked about, I forgot specifically which one, but they said, some people drink, some people smoke, some people do other things, like some people eat, some people buy stuff. I just want to go on Mount Everest. And I'm like, I mean, okay, I get it, right? I mean, that's what I mean. I get it. Everybody has their own, it's what you're into. I get it.
Yeah. The thing is, for example, life. For me, again, I don't think I ever would want to climb it. Back in the day, did.
Crazy.
But I also know that there's a town right near, I think it's lower than base camp. It's the highest town I think you can drive to.
Okay.
But it's where a lot of the Sherpas live.
Makes sense.
And, you can see a clear shot of Mount Everest.
Oh.
And to me, that in itself, I'd be, all right, let's do that.
Yeah, I'd be like, take a photo and we're heading on out.
Yeah, because even then, you're 14, 15, I think almost 16,000 because base camp's 17,000, I think. And so you're already still really freaking high. So in that aspect, to me, you can, even though you're basically driving up there, you can still say you've made it higher than most people in the world going to ever make it.
I would want to get like a bumper sticker that says like, my car, like I drove on Mount Everest, you know, because technically I did, you know what I mean? Yeah. But not really, you know, I was on Mount Everest. I think that would be really cool.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
I feel like
that'd be really cool.
Airplane pilots that fly over, if you think about it.
Fly over Everest?
Yeah.
I guess I didn't think about that one. I gotta look that one up to see if they.
I don't know if they do. They might, because of the jet trails, they might have different routes.
Yeah, but I just wonder who's seen it that's been close enough to see like what they see. I mean, it looks beautiful. You can find photos of how Everest looks from that point of view.
What I was gonna say though is that those pilots have to be the ones that get they got to get a bumper sticker for their plane. Flew over Mount Everest.
Yeah, no, literally, no joke. I was reading this article on the BBC website that was written by Rachel Newer, and she did, oh my God, it was such an insightful article, but I need to read a section of it because I feel like it really summed up a lot. Reaching the highest point on Earth once served as a symbol of man's desire to conquer the universe, as British mountaineer George Mallory put it. When a reporter asked him why he wished to climb Mount Everest, Mallory snapped, because it's there. Everest, however, is no longer the romantic, unconquered place it once was. Climbing Everest looks like a big joke today, says Captain M.S. Coley, who is a mountaineer who in 1965 led India's first successful expedition to summit Mount Everest. He says it absolutely does not resemble the old days when there were adventures, challenges, and exploration. It's just physically going up with the help of others. Somebody once said that climbing Everest is a challenge, but the bigger challenge would be to climb it and not tell anybody. And I was like, damn. I literally I just got chills reading that. My neck. I feel like Stranger Things. Vecna's near me. I was like, oh my God, my hair is baking up. I thought that was chef's kiss.
I was going to say, all it made me think of was how our world has evolved to relying so much on TikTok and social media.
And FOMO.
And I think about that one rich family that can afford to take their whole family up the mountain, and they have that one teenage daughter. I just don't have any signal, and she keeps on wandering off, and then all of a sudden, just because it's a comedic macabre scary movie, she just like falls off the mountain trying to get Wi-Fi. She's like, I can't post this TikTok. How are my followers gonna see?
No, but that's literally kind of how it feels. It's very much, you know, bruh, honestly, I know we grew up in a world where we didn't have phones until, I feel like we're right in the peak and middle, right? Like half our life was no phones, the other half is just phones. But thinking about even like our parents, for example, wow. You know, back then you was climbing Mount Everest because you was just climbing Mount Everest. You were a mountaineer. You were a climber. You were born to climb the mountains.
And I was going to say, think about it.
I'm sure they're still out there, but
then some of it might still be true today, but back then you took photos on a camera.
Yeah. They were limited. You had to make them count. It had to make sense. If you had an SD card, great, but also it's not like you could take
back then you had the rolls of film. So you had to your point, you had a roll film.
Well, this is 1924, yeah.
And you had to take a photo like that and then get it developed. And most people, when they would get them developed, you had it in a little frame on your desk. And then all of a sudden you have a friend or family member come over and you don't think anything of it because you just printed the photo out because it was a cool photo and it was a remembrance for you.
Yeah.
But then that became a conversation. Now, think about it today. Two quick things. There's two things I feel like I hate the most about how tech has evolved. One, now we're in this world where people take photos of absolutely freaking everything.
True.
And I hate that because to me as a
you don't really live in the moment.
Photographer, one, you don't live in the moment. But two, people don't take the time to truly try to make sure their settings are perfect on a camera and
Tom's
capture
like,
a
it's
good
shitty
photo.
photos.
It's
if
not.
you're gonna take it right.
No, it's not that. It's just the fact that we live in a day and age where you take thousands of photos and you just say, all right, we're good.
Yeah.
And we used to not have that. Then the other side of it is everyone posts every freaking little photo of any trip and any vacation, and I do the same thing because I love sharing it, but at the same time there's times that I think of it and I say, why am I sharing all these photos? Let me share the cool stuff that I actually saw, because some of this is cool to me, or it's just me taking a selfie. Why the hell am I posting a selfie?
Because but before you know, you got like 50,000 photos in your camera roll, and like half of them are about random shit that you were like, oh, let me just take a quick photo of this, and you never go back to the photo, and then before you know it, you take the same photo 15 times because you're wondering about the angle, and it's a little bit different this way, and it's different that way, and then now you have the photo live, so you can even click it, and you're like, oh my god, that is so cute, but I don't really need the other photos because this live kind of shows the rest of the photos. I'm explaining myself. I'm explaining myself. But for all that to say that I am curious, if money wasn't a factor, if recognition didn't matter, if no one would ever know you did it, would you still go? I still wouldn't. And you guys let us know in the comment, would you still go?
Now seeing how dangerous it is.
Even more dangerous, yeah.
Again, I always knew it was dangerous, but it was never emphasized.
Yeah.
And now even hearing even more of it, I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either.
Again, if early 2000s, I remember when I was first a Boy Scout, that was my goal. I actually had like a vision of one day, maybe I'll go climb Mount Everest.
Right.
To be honest, I also didn't know it cost so much damn money at that age. And I didn't realize how freaking difficult it was because I just saw it as climbing a mountain.
Right. Yeah, no, I know. Yeah, I don't think I would either. And to be honest, I don't even know how I feel about the climbers experiencing like the apparitions and the third man, and I don't know, I feel like it has to be also something spiritual. Like it can't it could also be hallucinations though. It could be a lot of factors. There's a lot of things at play. Now, but it's just spooky
question. Would you at least go to base camp?
Would I at least go to base camp?
You still have to hike a little bit to base camp.
I can't even get out of the shower without shivering in my timbers. And I'm literally like,
hold on. If you watch videos, people are in just long sleeves and at base camp. Okay. It's still cold at night.
Did you hear what I said?
I know. You're right. Case closed on that one.
Actually, you know what? I'd be open at least if I had just base camp. No, but it still costs like mad money to go to base camp. Actually, you know what? No.
Okay.
No.
It was just a thought.
No.
Anyways.
Let us know what you guys would do, though, because to be honest, no. I do think something paranormal is happening, though. I will say, I gotta admit it. We hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. It's the last episode for season 1. We wish you guys the merriest of holidays, and just have
a happy new year.
And a happy new year.
Happy new year.
We are so happy that you guys are still here with us and just, I don't know, supporting and commenting along the way and just having a blast. And we really hope you enjoyed today's episode. I know I did, especially I love telling the story to Tom, and it just always feel like it's our little like marriage date that we do now.
It is. Welcome to all the new listeners.
Yes, all the new listeners.
We're glad to have you guys here.
We see you. Honestly, comment, send us any stories, send us anything. If you have anything, okay? Just be nice, all right? Because I don't like negative comments. People are too rude out here on the internet.
We're
a
whole group here.
Yeah,
so just join the crew.
Yeah, we're so excited. We have so many cool things ready for season 2. We've been ideating, we've been brainstorming. It's going to be so much fun. And I think that you guys are really going to find season 2 just as sinister, spooky, and strange as season 1. And yeah, this is just like the start of, this is our first year. How crazy. I love it. And we love you guys. And I hope you guys have a safe and fun merries of holidays and a happiest New Year's. Okay. Make sure you stay on socials because we'll still be there. So thanks for joining us today on Macabre Mondays. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. You can find us wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you know more about today's episode or caught a detail we might have missed, let us know.
Or if you've climbed Mount Everest or know somebody that has.
If you have, oh
comment.
my goodness, comment down
Quick.
below. Let us know.
DM
Okay.
us.
We don't, unless you give us permission, we won't say anything on air. But
Yeah.
we did have a listener recently tell us that when they listened to the Amityville episode, it actually shook their timbers. Okay. They actually woke up in the middle of the night. What did he say? He woke up in the
Yes.
middle of the night sleeping on his stomach, and he was like, I never sleep like that. So he couldn't sleep the rest of the night.
So funny.
And that honestly warmed my heart. That really warmed my heart.
It's what I deal with every night. So, I just did finger guns, and for anyone listening to audio, you did not see them. But we would love to hear from you. Seriously, if you guys have a story that's strange, sinister, or just downright spooky, does not matter how small you may think it may be, please send it our way. You can email us at macabremondayspodcast@gmail.com or head over to macabremondays.com to submit your story. Yours just might be featured in an upcoming listener episode.
We'll see you next Monday. Psych. We'll see you January 19th, everybody. We hope you have a great holiday and a happy new year. And we can't wait to see what season 2 has in store for us.
You guys are in for a treat.
You guys are really in for a treat. I will stay. So make sure you follow, like, subscribe, share, catch up on all the episodes if you haven't already, because this is going to be your time to shine. We'll be on social, so make sure you're following us anywhere there. We're going to have a lot of fun stuff that we're going to be posting. I'm just like super excited. Okay. So we'll see you January 19th for another strange, sinister and spooky episode. Stay tuned. More mystery is just around the corner in the new year. But
we'll
until
see you
then,
next year.
Until then, stay curious and stay safe, friends. Bye.
Deuces.
See you in the next year. See you next year.
See you next year.